Goes into the fields at the break of day and bathes in the dew from the Hawthorn tree. Will live a strong and handsome bee. The hawthorn is such a beautiful and enchanting tree, blossoming clusters of white and pink stars around the time of Beltane. Though the first blossoms only begin to appear at the end of April or the first half of May, before 1752, in times that Britain followed the Julian calendar, the hawthorn would have come into full bloom around the 1st of May. And thus it was that the hawthorn was used in traditional May Day celebrations. Chaucer said, "Mark the fair blooming of the hawthorn tree, who finely clothed in robe of white, fills full the wanton eye with May's delight." The hawthorn has been known by many names. Some of my favourites are the hagthorn, the queen of the May, the fairy tree, and one that always makes me smile, the bread and cheese tree. In Welsh, the hawthorn is known by the name Bara Caws, bread and cheese, as this is what the leaves are thought to taste like. When newly emerged, the leaves have a slightly nutty flavour and are great for a tasty spring snack. They're lovely in a salad, once commonly made with a mixture of flower beds and considered a delicacy. Personally, I think they'd be a lovely accompaniment to a bread and cheese sandwich. The gorgeous proliferation of blossoms have been loved by many. H.E. Bates called hawthorn the risen cream of all the milkiness of Maytime. Robert Burns also had a particular fondness for the hawthorn tree. He wrote that the lass of Cessnock Burn was spotless like the flowering thorn, with flowers so white and leaves so green. This snow-white bridal gown of blossoms adored by many, including myself, heralds the renewal of life after winter, marking our entry into the light half of the year and the season of abundance. The Queen of the May is a potent symbol of fertility, romantic love, and protection. The flowers were traditionally used to decorate weddings, and brides often wore hawthorn blossoms in their hair. Originally a fertility symbol, it did later become a symbol of chastity and misfortune, though it is now once again being transformed back into a symbol of the heart, spiritual growth, and the blossoming of love within us. As for love, there is a beautiful but heartbreaking Chinese love story called Under the Hawthorn Tree, 山楂树之恋, which was made into a film a few years ago and is one of my favourite tales. It is based on a true love story set in the Cultural Revolution, a time filled with violence, political persecution and distress, and yet shows an endearing tale that has often been referred to as the purest and cleanest of love stories by Chinese critics. In the story, we see the main character Jingchu's sexual naivety contrasted against the perhaps unbridled freedom that young people experienced at the time, an image which fits closely with the hawthorn tree's dual symbolism of both passion and chastity in the West. The hawthorn, with its milky blossoms, was never brought into the home in Maytime, as there was a superstition that it would cause death, major illness, or an accident. This is perhaps not entirely fanciful, as the little white flowers, though pretty, do in fact contain quite a proportion of trimethylamine, which is one of the first chemicals released in decaying animal tissue. This component gives off a not so pleasant heady aroma, which in medieval times reminded people of the Great Plague. It was also a smell that people would have been quite familiar with due to the old practice of keeping corpses in houses before burial. However, the scent has also been associated with lovemaking, and therefore brings us back again to fertility and the Beltane season. Sprays of beautiful milky blossom taken from the Queen of the May could be used to decorate the outside of houses, and were often hung over doors and windows. Also used in the crown of the May Queen and in the wreath at the top of the Maypole. In many parts of Europe, other large leafy boughs of the thorn were set on the ground outside houses as May bushes and adorned with colourful wild flowers. Buttercups were always a popular option, as they were a symbol of the sun and the summer that had just begun. Ribbons or shells were also used to decorate the trees, and sometimes also coloured eggshells saved from the year's earlier festivities. Having adorned the bushes, I knew the Maybush would bring luck to the house and offer protection from any unwanted forces. Having decked my garden house with the Queen of the May, I continued on with my journey to greet the hawthorn. The hawthorn is one of the 3 most revered trees in the old Celtic world. Shorn of the downs on New Trade Town, foliage is London born. Witness here by the ancient tribe, oak and ash and thorn. Sing oak and ash and thorn, good sirs, on a midsummer's morn. Surely we sing of no little thing in oak and ash and thorn. The Hawthorn name is thought to originate from the Old English hagathorn, the word haga referring to a hedge or enclosure, and they do indeed make for excellent hedges. With their thick growth and thorny branches, they have popularly been used by agriculturalists in England as a natural boundary since Saxon times. The word hag also shares the same origin as the word witch in Middle English, hagtess, meaning a powerful supernatural woman, and later also had the sense of hedge rider, which points to the hawthorn not only being a physical boundary, but also a metaphysical one. Due to the tree's associations with the fae and magic, hedges of the May were often left uncut, even when adjacent hedges were being removed. But we'll speak more of the fairies and their associations when I arrive at the Fairy Glen. The moon, she dances like the waves on the shore, making circles like the waves on the shore.